What if I told you that Scotland's Highlands hide secrets so ancient and mysterious that even locals whisper about them in hushed tones? Today we're diving deep into a land where reality blurs with legend, where every mountain peak tells a story, and where the mist itself seems to carry whispers from another world. Welcome back to Trip Insight, where we uncover the extraordinary in the most unexpected places. I'm your guide to the world's hidden treasures, and today we're venturing into the Scottish Highlands, a realm where breathtaking natural beauty meets spine-tingling folklore that's been passed down through generations. But before we begin this mystical journey, let me ask you something. Have you ever stood in a place where you could physically feel the weight of history pressing down on you? Where the very air seems charged with stories from centuries past? That's exactly what awaits us in the Scottish Highlands, and by the end of this exploration, you'll understand why this land has captivated travelers, storytellers, and mystery seekers for thousands of years. The Scottish Highlands aren't just another travel destination. They're a living, breathing tapestry of geological wonders, cultural heritage, and supernatural mysteries that continue to baffle even the most skeptical visitors. From ancient standing stones that predate Stonehenge to lochs that supposedly harbor legendary creatures, every corner of this magnificent region holds secrets waiting to be discovered. Let's start our journey in one of the most famous yet misunderstood locations in all of Scotland. Loch Ness stretches before us like a dark mirror reflecting the brooding sky above. Most people know this place for one thing, but what they don't realize is that the legend of the monster is just the tip of the iceberg. Local fishermen have reported strange underwater sounds for centuries, long before the famous photograph that sparked global fascination. Standing here on the shores of Loch Ness, you're not just looking at Scotland's largest body of water by volume. You're gazing into a geological marvel that's over 20 million years old, formed by ancient fault lines that run deep beneath the Scottish landscape. The loch plunges to depths of over 700 feet, creating underwater caverns and passages that remain completely unexplored even today. But here's where the story gets truly fascinating. Archaeological evidence suggests that people have been drawn to these waters for over 4,000 years. Ancient Pictish stones found nearby depict mysterious water creatures, suggesting that tales of something unusual in these depths aren't modern inventions, but rather echoes of beliefs that stretch back to the dawn of Scottish civilization. Local fishermen have reported strange underwater sounds for centuries, long before the famous photograph that sparked global fascination. Standing here on the shores of Loch Ness, you're not just looking at Scotland's largest body of water by volume. You're gazing into a geological marvel that's over 20 million years old, formed by ancient fault lines that run deep beneath the Scottish landscape. The loch plunges to depths of over 700 feet, creating underwater caverns and passages that remain completely unexplored even today. But here's where the story gets truly fascinating. Archaeological evidence suggests that people have been drawn to these waters for over 4,000 years. As we move deeper into the Highlands, we encounter landscapes that seem almost alien in their dramatic beauty. The Quiraing on the Isle of Skye presents us with rock formations so otherworldly that they've served as backdrops for countless films and television shows. But what you can't capture in photographs or videos is the sensation of standing among these ancient sentinels of stone. The Quiraing was formed by an ancient landslide that created a geological playground unlike anywhere else on Earth. These towering rock pinnacles and hidden valleys have inspired local legends of fairy folk and supernatural guardians. Highland folklore tells of the Seelie Court, benevolent fairy beings who would gather in places of natural power like these towering rock formations. Local shepherds still speak of finding their sheep arranged in perfect circles after grazing near the Quiraing, and hikers report hearing distant music carried on the wind when no musicians are anywhere to be found. Whether you believe in such tales or not, there's something undeniably mystical about this landscape that affects everyone who experiences it firsthand. Moving inland, we discover Glen Coe, a valley that holds both stunning beauty and dark history within its granite walls. This glen is often called Scotland's most beautiful valley, but it's also the site of one of Scottish history's most tragic events. The massacre of Glen Coe in 1692 left an indelible mark on this landscape, and many visitors report an inexplicable sense of sadness when walking through certain areas of the glen. The mountains that tower above Glencoe aren't just scenic backdrops. They're geological time machines that tell the story of Scotland's violent formation. These peaks were forged by volcanic activity over 400 million years ago, and the evidence of this fiery birth is written in every rock face and scree slope you see. But Glencoe's true magic lies in its ability to change character completely depending on weather and light. One moment you might be hiking through a sun-drenched paradise filled with wildflowers and singing birds, and the next, you're enveloped in mist so thick that the world around you disappears entirely, leaving you alone with only the sound of your footsteps and your imagination. Highland folklore is rich with stories of shapeshifters and clan spirits that inhabit places like Glencoe. The MacDonalds, who lived in this valley for generations, believed that their ancestors' spirits remained tied to the land, protecting their descendants and warning them of approaching danger. Some modern visitors claim to have experienced these protective presences, particularly during difficult weather conditions when navigation becomes challenging. As we venture further north, we encounter the Cairngorms, Britain's largest national park and home to some of Scotland's most pristine wilderness. This vast expanse of mountains, forests, and rivers represents the closest thing to true wilderness you'll find in the British Isles. Here, golden eagles soar above ancient Caledonian pine forests, and red deer roam freely across landscapes that have remained virtually unchanged for millennia. The Cairngorms hold particular significance in Highland folklore as the dwelling place of the Bean-Tide, or fairy housekeeper. These supernatural beings were said to maintain the balance between the human world and the natural world, ensuring that those who respected the wilderness would be protected, while those who showed disrespect would face mysterious misfortunes. One of the most remarkable features of the Cairngorms is the presence of ancient Caledonian pine forests. These trees are descendants of the great forest that once covered most of Scotland after the last ice age. Each surviving tree is like a living link to prehistoric Scotland, and some of the oldest specimens have been growing for over 700 years. Local tradition holds that these ancient pines are guardians of Highland wisdom. Druids and Celtic mystics believed that meditation beneath their branches could provide insights into both the past and future. The wildlife of the Cairngorms adds another layer to the region's mystical character. Mountain hares that turn pure white in winter, capercaillie birds whose calls echo through misty forests like ghostly voices, and the elusive Scottish wildcat all contribute to the sense that this landscape exists somehow outside ordinary reality. Our journey takes us next to the remote northwestern Highlands, where we find some of Scotland's most spectacular and least visited treasures. The Assynt region presents a landscape so dramatic and unusual that it challenges everything you think you know about Scottish geography. Ancient mountains rise from a terrain of lochs and bogland, creating vistas that seem more suited to fantasy novels than reality. Here we discover Sullivan, a mountain so distinctive that it's known as the Sugarloaf of Scotland. This geological oddity stands in splendid isolation, its quartzite peak gleaming white against the darker landscape surrounding it. Local Gaelic tradition holds that Sullivan is a sleeping giant who will one day awaken to protect Scotland in its hour of greatest need. The isolation of the northwestern Highlands has preserved not just pristine landscapes, but also cultural traditions that have disappeared from more accessible regions. In remote crofting communities, you can still hear stories passed down through dozens of generations, tales of selkies who shed their seal skins to dance on moonlit beaches, and of water horses that emerge from Highland lochs to lure unwary travelers to watery graves. These aren't just quaint folklore tales told to entertain tourists. They represent a way of understanding and relating to the natural world that sustained Highland communities for thousands of years. The stories served as both entertainment and education, teaching important lessons about respecting nature's power and recognizing signs of danger in the wilderness. As our exploration draws toward its conclusion, we must acknowledge that the true magic of the Scottish Highlands lies not just in any single location or legend, but in the cumulative effect of experiencing this extraordinary landscape in its entirety. Every glen, loch, and mountain peak contributes to a sense of place unlike anywhere else on Earth. The Highlands challenge us to expand our understanding of what travel can be. This isn't just about collecting passport stamps or ticking locations off a bucket list. It's about opening ourselves to landscapes that can fundamentally change how we see the world and our place within it. The combination of geological grandeur, cultural depth, and mysterious atmosphere creates experiences that linger in your memory long after you've returned home. For those planning their own Highland adventure, remember that this landscape demands respect and preparation. Weather conditions can change rapidly, and the terrain can be challenging even for experienced hikers. But for those willing to approach these mountains and valleys with appropriate caution and reverence, the rewards are beyond measure. The Scottish Highlands remind us that our world still holds mysteries, still contains places where wonder and beauty converge in ways that defy easy explanation. In our increasingly connected and documented world, finding such places becomes ever more precious. So the next time someone asks you about must-see destinations, remember the Scottish Highlands. Remember that some places offer more than just beautiful scenery. They offer the chance to step into landscapes where reality and legend intertwine, where ancient stories still whisper on the wind, and where the very stones beneath your feet hold secrets spanning millions of years. What Highland mystery calls to you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more journeys to the world's most extraordinary hidden destinations. Until next time, keep seeking the extraordinary and the unexpected.